We're back with Roseanne Arnold and Richard Harris. Is it true, when you were younger, maybe you weren't younger, you once conned a handsome cab driver in New York City to let you drive through the park?
Yeah, I was always, yeah. I used to love, every time I go to New York, I take those handsome cabs around the park.
Kind of corny, but everybody does it.
Which I love it. And so I was, with this girl I was with, and I said to the driver, and he kept sort of looking back, saying, God, she's beautiful. So I said, of course she's beautiful. I said, why don't you sit back here and I'll take the cab? So he came back and he put a rug around himself and the girl, and I put on his cap and the whip, and I sat on top and got the horse going up Central Park, close to Central Park. And there were two policemen wandering down, and one of them spotted me, and he nudged the other, and they kind of went backwards, you know, keeping up with me, because they were going the opposite direction. They didn't kind of turn and walk back, but they kind of kept walking backwards to make sure it was me. And they stopped the cab. And they said, excuse me, are you Richard Harris? And I said, yeah. And he said, do you have a license? I said, a license for what? He said, a license to drive this cab. Do you realize this is an offense? You have to have a license to drive this. And I thought, I'm always getting into trouble with police, so I better think very quickly. I said, what did you say again? He said, have you got a license to drive this cab? And I said, no. I said, but I hope you're a member of Equity. I said, because you're in my movie. And he said, what? I said, I hope you're a member of Actors Equity because... I said, you're in my movie. There are cameras up there in the Essex house taking... This is a scene from a movie. Get out of the movie. And he says, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Harris.
Get out, huh?
Get out. Oh. I got away with it.
You used to say, when I'm in trouble, I'm an Irishman, but other times I'm an Englishman. What's the difference?
Well, the British have got a fantastic habit of taking the best out of you and throwing the rest away. That's a very dirty laugh. And he says that, and so I won the Cannes Film Festival in 1964 for Sporting Life, and I'm coming back in the car, and the Evening Standard is our big evening, the only evening newspaper, and they kind of sell it by having these huge placards, white placards, and with sort of charcoal they write, you know, the Desert Storm, British troops invade, whatever it is. But this headline was, British actor wins major award, Cannes. So I said, that's me. It's me. 4 days later, I get into a punch-up in Covent Garden, and the same newspaper, the same headline said, Irish actor in brawl. You got it?
Uh-huh.
British actor wins the award, but Irish actor in brawl.
You went into a brawl?
Yeah.
So that's the way they separate it, huh?
I've always getting into trouble with police. I don't know why that is, but I get into trouble. And
but you have mellowed, have you not?
I have.
Didn't you do some really strange escapades, you and O'Toole and some of your your buddies?
Yeah. There was once upon a time when Peter O'Toole and 75% of our body weight was vodka and tonic.
And what did you do?
And I've stopped drinking now, and it's great to wake up in the morning and not come to.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Did you do something really outrageous?
Well, I remember Peter and I were great friends when we were beginning as actors, and I remember one great story. Oh, shall I tell it?
Sure.
Great story. O'Toole and I was asked to do a play in the West End called Ball, written by Bertolt Brecht, and I thought I was all wrong for it, that I shouldn't play it, because the part is kind of about a small little elephantic guy. I thought I was quite handsome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was amazed when I said no to it, O'Toole decided to do it. And I thought he's going to make it, Lawrence of Arabia had just come out, and I thought, this is a disastrous move from O'Toole's point of view. Why would he want to do something like this that he can't really play? So I thought, well, and the reviews were wonderful when he came out, and I thought, I'll have to go and see this play, because I can't believe he's good in it. So I didn't want to go as Richard Harris, because the front of house manager will tell O'Toole that Harris is there. So I went to a costumer, and I got dressed as a Roman Catholic priest. And I went there with a mate of mine and bought a ticket and set up in the gallery. I dressed as a priest, with, you know, with the breviary and the rosary beads and the hat and the old collar and all that. And I'm watching O'Toole, and every act he's better and better. And by the end of the play, he's unbelievably brilliant. So I have to go back and tell him he's great. But I can't go back dressed as a priest. He'll ask me why. I get one of those from him, see?
Sure.
So I said to my friend, swap clothes, give me your suit, you take the priest outfit, and we'll swap. Well, the next day, in one of the newspapers, the Daily Express said, there was commotion during the matinee of Peter O'Toole's ball, where a Roman Catholic priest was seen to undress in the gallery. Right? So I went back and I saw O'Toole with this guy's clothes on, and he never said a word. He obviously found out. He never said a word. 7 years later, I have had a hit record, thanks to you, MacArthur Park, which I did here for the first time.
That's
went
right.
from number 21 to number 1. And I decided to go out on a one-man concert tour. And I go up to the north of England where no one can see me break it in, okay?
Taking it on the road.
On the road, way up in Scunthorpe. Now, even Scunthorpians don't know where Scunthorpe is. So I went up and I'm doing this show, breaking my show in, coming into the West End. And I'm singing a song, and I hear commotion out in the back of the hall. So I stopped the orchestra. I said, what's going on out there? And a voice said, I'm Peter O'Toole. I'm here dressed as a nun. He did. 7 years later.
He waited.
He waited 7 years.
Oh, that's a marvelous story.
Yeah, 7 years.
You tell great stories. Have you ever, outside of that opening night performance where you came out and went completely blank, have you ever done it sometime where you've had a more major role? And you've done the role so often. That can happen sometimes when you do a comedy routine that you're so familiar that sometimes it just goes,
dear.
and you can't get back on track.
Oh, dear. I did 2,000 performances of Camelot on stage. 2,000. And I'm on the West End one night. I'm on the West End one night, and Guinevere's sitting on a rock, and I'm sitting, this is a true story, I swear to God, and I'm sitting
We
here.
got about 1 minute.
Okay, and she's sitting here beside me, you see, and I'm sitting here, and I have to look at her, and I have to say, Jenny, do you sometimes wish that I was not... No, I said... No, I wrote it. I said, Jenny, do you sometimes wish that you were not born a queen? And she says, well, occasionally, Arthur. And this night I'm very tired. I'm very tired, and I look at her, and I said, Jenny, do you sometimes wish that I was not born a queen?
How does she recover from that?
She looked at me for a second, and she began to shake. And then I quickly ad-libbed and said, of course, that's why you and Lancelot are having an affair, right? And then her eyelashes began to drop off.
Oh, that's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
Great story. And we'll return.
You can't recover from it.
No.
No.